Macro. Macro. Meet Macro. My new best friend, whether I like it or not. Just kidding, he's adorable. He's just insane and he likes my phone and no! Macro, no! Good boy. He's very smart, but he's still a puppy, so the biting and literally everything. And we've become official adults because baby gate, paper towels, cleaner, dog food, puppy pads, literally everywhere. It's just like it is his house now, which I don't even care. I'm not even mad. And it looks like he wants to show us something. Macro. Hey guys, so you've probably seen on Instagram and or Snapchat, Macro is bringing this around, which I'm going to talk about. But this is our new guy, Macro. He's insane. Come on, go to the puppy pad. Puppy pad. Literally, my entire day just consists, until I start work, just consists of like following him around and make sure following him around and making sure he isn't into any trouble because he's insane. No. He's like, it's like if I tell him no on one thing, he'll immediately try something else that he probably knows is not okay. No. No. Macro, no. And doesn't know how to be a functional adult. Obviously, he's a baby. So, this is going to be a really interesting video, and I'm probably gonna have to do a lot of editing just so I don't yelp 5,000 times during this video. Here we go. Okay, be nice. Oh my gosh. No! So, what I'm gonna talk about today is waist training. I'm sure you guys have seen it all over Instagram, but waist training is a very controversial topic. I mean, in the past, like a couple hundred years ago, waist trainers were used as a way to cinch the waist, which, as pretty much anyone nowadays believes, created an unrealistic expectation for women in that they were expected to have really small waists, and it wasn't due to necessarily a lack of body fat, but because they were in constant compression, their waists were smaller because it eventually would bend their lower ribs so that the rib cage, which should be pretty rounded, would be cinched at the bottom even, which can actually cause damage depending on the waist trainer and how tight you made it. And no, because if you're bending those lower ribs, there's organs there. You could be damaging your diaphragm, which can affect your breathing. You could be damaging your pancreas, really anything in your abdomen, simply because you're causing so much compression. Now, if you have some compression device on constantly and it's extremely constricting, no! It's extremely constricting, then what it can do is it can actually impair your body's signals to itself about digestion. It can actually cause you to have acid reflux because it's compressing. It can compress your stomach and the reflux comes back up because everything's under so much pressure. So that is the those are like the biggest concerns with waist trainers. However, I believe that those concerns are only valid, no, I do love him, I promise, he's just insane. So I believe those concerns are only valid if you're choosing to use a waist trainer very frequently or constantly. And that is because your organs and your body never has time to relax into its natural state. Additionally, if you're using a waist trainer to cinch your waist to an unnaturally small size, those concerns are very valid. And at that point, this is not a health endeavor at all, and it cannot be portrayed as one. However, I do believe there is a place and time for waist trainers. I was really nervous when I first bought mine because of the controversy around it, and I had heard two sides. I had seen people on Instagram who I admire, especially in figure, keeping the waist really small even when you get your body fat percentage up a little bit during off season. No. And it was admirable because their waists were so tiny, and that's something I want. You know, I think a lot of girls do want that. No. He's attacking my waist trainer as we speak, so that's something we want. But then again, there's a second aspect to it, and that is those people who are talking about, hey, I used a waist trainer and I found that I lost a lot of core strength, or I used a waist trainer and I had acid reflux, or I had to have surgery because I fractured a rib. Like, there's just so many things out there, and it becomes really muddled as to whether or not waist trainers are beneficial. But like most things in life, though controversial, there are ways to use it healthfully, in moderation. Macro. What are you doing? Okay. Again, moderation. He also started this thing with like humping, which is so weird because he's literally 7 weeks old. But I read about it, and it's actually, it can be like a really like normal thing because puppies get so excited, they literally don't know what to do with themselves. So they just think, well, I'll just bite them or I'll hump them. And I guess things don't change much in humans. So waist trainers can be great in moderation. What I mean by moderation is during your workout. Now, there are a few times you wouldn't want to use them. One would be when you're training abs. That's not great, because the point of working your abs is to strengthen your abdominal muscles. Now, if you have something squeezing your abs and you're trying to do a crunch, imagine what that's going to feel like. You're not going to be able to get the full contraction because there's going to be something squeezing your abs all the time. Another time is if it hurts. If you're having pain while using a waist trainer, you may need to either look into a smaller size or a different fit. For instance, mine is short abdomen, and I find it great because I have very protruding ribs, lower ribs, and because it's short abdomen, I can pull it down to where it's completely below my ribs and doesn't interact with them at all. You might need to find a different style, in that a different material. Some are not very flexible. I personally use Squeeze Me Skinny, and I love that brand because they're not expensive at all, and they last really well. I've had this one for about, I think, 8 months now, and it's great condition. Like, more so I need to wash it, but regardless, it's super stretchy. There are these little you can see these little strands here. Those have kind of supportive beams in them, but they're very flexible and bendy, and that's nice because they do give you like back support, but it's not overwhelming, and it's not so much so that you're put in an unnatural angle. Now, what I do love about it, and times that I would say you should use it, so times you shouldn't use it are during abs or if you have pain. Times you should use it, times I would use it. Cardio. What's great about wearing a waist trainer when you're doing cardio is, one, it reminds you to keep your core tight throughout the workout. When you're running, you want to keep an upright abdomen, an upright core, right? Your torso should be upright like this, right? And you're running along, running. But then what happens? You start to get tired, you start to slouch your shoulders. But the thing is, all of that is controlled by your spine. If you have something supporting your lower back, which is typically a weaker portion of our backs, since we are a sitting culture, and we typically sit like this most of the day, even when we try to remind ourselves, it's easy to slouch back into that. No. Oh, why are you so cute, but so mean? No. I know. So, keeping a waist trainer on while you're doing cardio keeps your core tight and helps keep you upright because it keeps your spine aligned. Additionally, if you're on a bike, it really helps with that as well. Also, I find it really great on back day for 2 reasons. One, if I'm doing bent over rows or some motion like that where I'm specifically working my upper back, and exercises where I'm using my upper back, but it's my lower back that's giving out, I really like to use a waist trainer because it really helps stabilize your lower back the way that a belt does. For me, I find belts really uncomfortable. I don't feel like they support the right part of my back because the small of my waist is here, but my lower back is weaker here. So they support here, which helps keep my abdomen tight, but they don't give me that full lower back support that a waist trainer does. Additionally, waist trainers are much more flexible than belts, which can be a double-edged sword. In some cases, they may not give you the support of a belt. I would recommend on heavy deadlifts, heavy squats, still using a belt. But in general, I get through all my workouts with just a waist trainer. And what I love about it is on back day, so we've got the lower back support, but then also it's really helpful for feeling your lats contract. That can be a really difficult feeling to understand or to even trigger in your body, especially if you're not doing a lot of posing where you're learning to spread your lats. No. Oh, he always gets like right where it hurts. Sit. 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 Good boy. So it can help you spread your lats because you get the feeling of your lats contracting, so you know that you're using the right form. You can feel them squeezing. So in general, waist trainers are neither good nor bad, right? They are a tool, and just like any tool, they can be abused and they can be really helpful. It depends on the person, it depends on the type of waist trainer, and it depends on the intent for use. If the intent is simply to have a smaller waist without a routine or healthy eating or working out, just something to cinch your waist and that be the easy fix, no, it's not a good idea. So it's not an easy fix for anything. There are really no easy fixes for getting your health where it should be, for getting a smaller waist, for hitting the body weight you want. You really have to put in the work. So a waist trainer in itself should be used as a supplemental tool to a healthy program. It should fit you correctly. It should feel comfortable. And it should help you achieve your goals. But it should never be used in an inappropriate way. So if you go on Squeeze Me Skinny, that's without an E, so SQUEEZME Skinny, they have like a size chart, so you should make sure that you measure. Don't just guess, because the size chart is actually really helpful. And they have live chat, so if you get on there and you have questions, which I did when I was buying mine because I was nervous, it was new, I didn't know if they were good or bad, I just talked to a little person on the site, and they really helped me through it. And they explained to me that I should get the sport one, which is very flexible, it's breathable, it's great for workouts because it moves with your body. So it's not overly constricting, it will not be iron rod posture on your back. It's just, to me, it's a reminder to keep my core tight. It's lower back support. It creates some heat when I'm doing cardio. It helps me keep my posture. So those are the reasons that I use it. And it's really beneficial for me. And if I'm ever having any experiences that are uncomfortable, if any exercises don't feel good with the waist trainer on, I'm not gonna wear it. I have yet to find that exercise, honestly, because it is such a flexible trainer. But the point is health. So if it hurts, if it's uncomfortable, if it's not for the right reason, nope, not gonna do it. So go on Squeeze Me Skinny. There are normal ones, there's normal like torso length, and then there's shortened torso length, which is what I have. And then there are multiple sizes for each one. I got the black just so if I wore workout stuff that are cropped or anything, it wouldn't show. There are a ton of colors on there. There's like leopard and blues, and just go on there and check it out. There's even some for guys, which again, for the same exact reasons that a girl would use it. It's not gender specific because the point is core support. The more I talk about this, the more I realize I'm like hunched over talking about core support. But exactly, that's the reason you would use it. Additionally, this is not something you use all day long. You only want to use this for a couple hours at a time. And maybe even take some days off from it. On your rest days, don't wear it. When you're doing abs, don't wear it. So, look at the precautions that go along with a waist trainer. Do your research. Look on the site, check out what you like. If you're doing it for sports, get the sport one. You will have enough support with that. And use my code OldSoulMadeNew for 10% off, and let me know what you think. Just send me a message on Instagram or comment on this video, and we can talk about it. And that is all I have for waist trainers. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to message me or comment below. If you like this content, if you like more instructional, please just let me know, and let me know what you would like to hear about. I do a lot of research on things before I use them. I just got out of nursing school. I will be a nurse pretty soon, and I live doing research. So if you want to know about something, I'll put the work into it, and I'll find out if I don't already know. Okay, so on Saturday we went and got our puppy, and we drove to Toledo, Ohio to get him. And we live in Indianapolis, so it's quite a drive, about 3.5 hours. But I had done research, and I had found this puppy. We wanted a blue nose American Pit Bull Terrier, and those are kind of hard to find. So unless you want to like contact a breeder and see if they're going to breed some, so you kind of just have to see what you got. So we ended up finding one in Toledo. So literally 2 days before, we contacted the lady, asked if we could come get him, asked about his environment, all the details, and Saturday morning, bright and early, we drove to Toledo. And we picked up our puppy, and he was happy and healthy and wonderful, and we started our long car drive back. He did great. He was a little sleepy just because he'd been playing all morning, but overall he'd been doing really well. And then we got home. He drank a ton of water, like an unruly amount of water. And then we were like, ooh, did we not give him enough on the ride? Maybe not. So we didn't really think much of it. His belly was super full because he was like way overloaded with water. And then 30 minutes after we get home, he's laying on the couch and I'm in the bathroom, and Travis hollers at me, and Travis had picked him up and put him in his cage, and he hollered, he's having a seizure. So I run out, and sure enough, he's having a seizure. He's on his side, his legs are spasming, his neck is like hyperextended, he's foaming at the mouth and nose, and his eyes are unresponsive. And then I had to kind of help him throw up all that water and then some food. And once he did that, he kind of collapsed. He was super tired. He crawled into Travis's lap and fell asleep and just whimpered. And it was just a horrible experience. So within 10 minutes, I took him to the animal hospital and they started running tests on him. Everything was coming back normal, but he had 3 more seizures while he was there. So there were no weird fluid shifts. It didn't look like there was any kidney problem. His electrolytes were fine. It was, it was just like, I can't say if it was better or worse to not find what was wrong, because anything could have ended up costing way more if we had found a serious issue. But it was still kind of frustrating not knowing what was causing this, wondering, had we done anything wrong? We'd only had him for a few hours. Had we not really done enough research? Probably not. And found a good breeder? Should we have gone through someone else and not a breeder? Did something happen and this breeder didn't tell us about it? Was he inbred? Which is apparently really common with pit bulls. And this is our first day with our new puppy. This is something we should be excited about. It's something that we've been talking about for months, and then finally, like on a whim almost, we're like, why don't we do it this weekend? So I waited there with him for a long time. He just kept seizing, and then they instructed me that I really needed to take him to like a neuro-specific hospital, or a hospital with a neurologist. So I drove him 15 minutes, and he was just so exhausted because they doped him up on Valium. And I waited at the next hospital for 3 hours in my waiting room while they had my puppy, and I had no idea what was going on. It was terrifying. It was exhausting. I was literally like singing in frustration by the end of it. Yeah. And I just wanted to know what was going on with him. So while he was there, he only had 1 seizure right after we arrived, which was 6 p.m. on Saturday. So again, this is all the same day. And he, we didn't know much more than that. They didn't know what was wrong, so they wanted to keep him overnight. And all this time, the money is racking up, and it's hard because until you're in that situation, you don't really realize, like, it's split-second decisions. Do you want CPR? That can cost $250 to $500. Do you want us to keep going? That can cost $200 per test. Your meds are costing money. An MRI is going to be $1,700. And you have to make these decisions so quickly that you have to establish your values in this situation and decide how far you're willing to go for, yes, an animal. And not only that, but a brand new animal who we'd had 1 day. We didn't know anything about his history other than what the lady told us, and he was only 6.5 weeks old. It's a bad situation any way you put it, and it was difficult to know what to do. But I just kind of, Travis was right there with me. He joined me at the hospital, and we just had to decide in the moment, what do we prioritize? And we agreed we wouldn't do an MRI just because of the cost of that, but we would do everything up till that, which means testing organ function and testing liver function to ensure that he didn't have any kind of deviation in the blood flow there. So Sunday night, he's still at the hospital, or Sunday morning. So Sunday morning, we go visit him. we got a call from the neurologist and said, you know, we're gonna check his liver and then you keep him on meds for a week, but feel free to come visit him. So we went and visited him, and he was so sleepy, and it was the cutest thing that he just kind of collapsed in my arms, and I just held him and finally got to see our baby again after only having had him for a couple hours the day before, and then not seeing him for hours on hours, not really knowing what was going on. It was a relief to know he was still alive, when in our minds we had already like come to terms with the fact that he would probably not make it. So we were just super grateful. And then Sunday night, Macro. So then Sunday night we took him home, and we were so nervous. We put his cage like over here, like right by our bed, and which was a terrible idea because by then he's not having any seizures. He's just a puppy, which is great, and I'm so freaking thankful. But holy cow, he just whined and scratched his cage and peed and pooped, and oh my gosh, it was a mess. We barely slept at all. So that was Sunday night. Then Monday night we moved his cage, and the neurologist called, and his liver tests are all normal, and you know, he's doing really well. He's acting like a normal puppy. We've had no strange incidences. The only issue is having to give him medication constantly because he's on antibiotics. He was on 2 seizure meds. We got him off one of them. He's gonna still be on one for about 6 months to a year, just depending on, you know, how he's doing. And then hopefully we'll get to try to take him off them and see how he does. It's really terrifying, and it's something we're just figuring out along the way, but I really appreciate all the support from you guys and all the prayers, and I just hope you all join me in thanking God that this puppy is okay, and that he's being annoying, that he's biting me, that he's driving me crazy, because those are all good signs. Those are all signs of health. Those are all expected. And those are all so much better than seizures. So that's going to conclude this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you with another video very soon after I go take care of 2 puppies. One large Doberman and one itty bitty pit bull who won't stop attacking the Doberman. Okay, bye.